Hello, I'm W.T. Edmondson, and welcome to Focus. Freedom often causes unbelievable silence. Of course, the intent of Focus is to inform, educate, and motivate our viewers to action. Our guest today is Dr. Earl Wheatfall. He is the past president of the National Alumni Association, and most recently he was the interim executive director of the Lincoln University Foundation, and currently he serves as the special assistant for advancement and alumni affairs. Dr. Wheatfall, welcome to Focus.
Thank you.
Okay. Being an alumnus of Lincoln University, tell us a little bit about who is Earl Wheatfall and what impact did your attending Lincoln University have on you?
Well, Lincoln University was probably the best thing that happened to me in my life. I came here as a transfer student and on a scholarship to play football. And I had a chance to play under one of the greatest coaches I think ever lived, was Dwight T. Reed. Dwight Reed taught us that football was a mechanism for you getting your education, because very few of us would be going to the pros. So we were students first. And one of the things that really impressed me about him as a coach is that he wanted us to be good citizens. He drilled that into you almost every time we had what we call a chalk talk, was that you need to be a good citizen first. And keep your average up, be a good student, pay your taxes, and be involved. I came to school with the idea that, in fact, I was the first generation from my family to come to college. So when Coach Reed recruited me, he really changed the whole pattern of my family. Because as I came, there have been almost a Wheatfall in Lincoln ever since I came here in 1959. And that's been almost 60 years ago. And I've always had some Lincoln person I'd go home and get somebody, bring them to Lincoln. Come to Lincoln. Lincoln can change your life. And Lincoln has changed so many of our young folk lives, as you know. Right. Lincoln is just a diamond for education, because it puts you in an environment, a caring environment. We, at the time when I was in school, as you know, we were still segregated in 59 before 1954, when the Brown versus the Board of Education occurred. But we were all African American, mostly African Americans at that time. But then after 1954, things kind of changed. But even with that change, Lincoln has continued to adjust to the times. I hear say all the time that Lincoln is probably one of the most diverse universities in the country. And that's a positive for us. And I think we've got good leadership now that's going to take us forward.
Well, thank you, thank you. So football, what led you to attend Lincoln University? Was Coach Reed just simply show up and convince you, or how did that come about?
Coach Reed was a phenomenal man. He'd take in your family. He came to my home and saw that I was a fairly decent football player. I was among a lot of other good football players too. So I had a chance to come to Lincoln. I also came with another instructor that I had run into as a mentor, and that was a big help. But when I came to Lincoln, he recruited me as a football player. You got to make the team, you got to play football, but you got to get your studies. So by him being so impressive, so he was such a pervasive man. I mean, he was really, and my family just loved him. So every time we got a chance to find a good football player, a good track person to bring to Lincoln, we would identify him to come to Lincoln, because Lincoln was a place to go. Because Lincoln was, it was up north as far as Texas was concerned. So I was in Navasota, Texas, so this is up north. We're getting from the South so much. So coming to Lincoln was a real move forward for me. And once I came to Lincoln, and I found my wife at Lincoln, and I've been connected with Lincoln ever since.
Speaking about coming from Texas, coming from Texas, then coming into Missouri, what was the dynamics as you noticed coming into Missouri, coming out of Texas?
There was in 1959, and I was as a 19-year-old, there was very little difference. Because as you know, when we came to Jeff City was very different
Right.
then than now. We had the foot was there. You had a lot of black businesses and stuff like that. So you could connect with that as you could easily in Texas. But there was not a major difference between Missouri and Texas. But I saw a major difference after the Brown versus the Board of Education decision. I saw a major difference in Lincoln in terms of the integration effect and the growth of Lincoln. Lincoln is really has a history, a rich history that you can really. We have a real strong story to tell on how we were created and how we are connected with Second Baptist, and Lincoln is just a marvelous institution.
Coming to Lincoln, how prepared did you feel you were coming that far from home and jumping into the college environment? How prepared did you feel that you were jumping in?
I did not know. I was really afraid. But the instructors at that time made you feel at home. I remember Dr. Cox. Oliver Cox was an instructor, one of our instructors. And I think he was paraplegic. And I would carry his books and stuff for him. So he would set us down in a room in the evening and sit down and talk to you, as well as made sure you got your lessons. Make sure that you studied hard. But because he was a top-notch professor. And so I lived in Allen Hall, and I can't remember the room number, but he was a major influence. Coach Reed, Dr. Reedy, just so many of the faculty members that I was able to get the tutelage from. But their demands were really powerful, because not only did they tell you what to do, they showed you what you need to do. If you wrote a paper and it wasn't correct, believe me, it would be bleeding by the time you got it back. But they would take out the time and sit down and talk to you about, this is what's required, this is what you need to do. And I think I got the best education in the world coming to Lincoln. Because when I left Lincoln, I stayed at Lincoln and got 2 degrees. I got my BS degree, but I had a break in there. I left and went to the service, came back. I had 2 degrees. When I left and went to University of Virginia, I was more than prepared to compete based on my education at Lincoln.
How long was it before you, after leaving Lincoln, that you first returned back?
Now this is a real interesting phenomenon. It took some time. I would come back for homecoming periodically, but not with the administrative side of Lincoln. I'd come back and get with my friends, and we'd have a good time and that kind of a thing. It wasn't until I ran into Outlaw, who's a good friend of mine, who said, "Earl, why don't you get involved in the Alumni Association?" So I did. And by doing so, I founded a chapter in Milwaukee. I founded the Milwaukee Chapter Alumni Association. And by founding that chapter, that got me involved in coming to Lincoln and looking at the metrics of Lincoln and looking at how alumni need to be involved, how we need to be able to give back to Lincoln. That was a growing process. And I think that is what's lacking right now with our younger alumni that's leaving. We've got to learn how to give back to our institutions. It's almost like, I know you're reverend, so it's almost like church. You got to be able to give back to your institution if you expect it to survive. Because states are not giving as much resources as they used to, or as I think they ought to. So alums have got to come back and put up and give back to the institution. And I think we're positioned ourselves now to give back more. It's just that we've got to learn how to do it. We got to feel comfortable doing it. We got to want to do it. We got to get back into saying, I'm helping another kid come along. Well, Lincoln helped me, he can help them, but I've got to give back for him to do that. And I think we're working on that. And our president is really aggressively working on teaching us how to give and how students to give. Students to give back. I attended a town hall meeting with her just recently, and she mentioned to students that she's going to start giving. If you only give but $1, then the next year $2. You just got to get accustomed to giving. Once you get used to it, it's not a challenge.
Right.
I run into one of our alums. She doesn't give back a lot, but she gives back consistently. Her name is Golden, and I call it the Golden Rule. Ms. Golden. She gives back $25 a month. But she's been doing that ever since I can look back at the records. She's been giving that $25 a month. Suppose we had 1,000 alums giving back more than 1,000, because we got about 20,000 alums.
Yeah.
So suppose we had 1,000 of them giving back just $25 a month. Same amount that you spend at your local coffee shop.
Right.
You could give that to Lincoln and make it a habit. And if you start doing it, you forget about it.
Right.
You just do it kind of automatically. So I'm just thinking about how we can encourage alums to give back early on. In fact, I think some institutions start them to give it early on. I think Spelman is one of the schools that starts alums to give back early on.
I think there's definitely a nurturing need for that nurturing to take place.
Yes.
Because I've said over and over is that you don't wait to the point of that student walking across that stage and then say, well, now let me develop this alumnus. Okay, that's when that individual first step foot on campus.
That's right.
You start training them and nurturing them to the point where they want to give back once they leave.
Yes, you get that rich history. You're really preserving your institution by giving back. Because once you get out and get a job, but for Lincoln, you wouldn't have been able to get that job.
Right.
So it's just almost a natural to give back to that institution that helped you along.
Yeah, and you know, just it's been some time. I saw a piece on PBS, and they were talking about historically black colleges and some of those colleges and universities who are no longer with us.
Yes.
And it's devastating to watch that program, to see alumnus who no longer have their university.
Yes. And at this point in our development, and I think we have just got to be, I don't want to say taught, but we just got to be encouraged to give back and know how far that will go. Because as you appreciate your institution, you can give back to it. And once you become invested in it, then it becomes yours. Because presidents come, faculty come, everybody come and go. But the alum, that is the core of the institution that's going to be there. All the time, there's going to be alums. There's going to be some new ones. Others are going to pass on, but there are going to be new ones. Yeah. So the alums, that's really the constant force that maintains your institution. And some of the larger institutions are the PWIs. That's just part of their makeup. They give back to their institution. They preserve their institution. And we can do that, and we can come back and give back. We can also give back, too. We have some alums that's well fitted academically to come back to Lincoln and give back to Lincoln.
you know, I know that just some of my classmates, some of them leave the university with a chip on their shoulders about something very minute.
Yes.
And they hold that against the university forever.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing here is everyone from the janitor to the president of the university have an impact on that student as long as they're on that campus.
Absolutely.
And so the relationship that and the encounters that that student go through while they're on this campus impact that student's mindset
Yes.
about
it does.
what they think about the institution. And unfortunately, a lot of times students hold on to little small grudges.
Yes. I hear them all the time.
Yeah.
But you know, that is so immature.
Yes,
So immature.
yes.
Yeah, because the faculty and staff, they're here to help you.
Right.
And for sure you're going to run into some rough situations. But how can I, as a mature person, look back at my institution now and say, I'm holding what someone said to me 20 years ago against the institution, when this institution put me in a position to do what I'm doing,
Absolutely.
to be able to make the kind of money I'm making, to be able to really create a profession for me.
Right.
Because you're really changing your life. Lincoln University changes people's lives. You should not be the same person when you leave as when you came.
Right.
When you leave, you should be a new person, and you are a different person. I tell students all the time. In fact, I'm working with a couple of students right now. I tell them, look at yourself as an investment. You are the stock market. The more you put into you, the more you're going to be able to gain for you. You invest in yourself. You invest in yourself by studying hard, by being top of your class, by being disciplined, by being focused on what you're about. So if you focus in yourself, you'd be surprised. It sounds selfish,
Right.
but education is kind of a selfish issue.
Yeah.
If the fellas are going out and have a good time tonight and you know you got work to do, you got to let them go and do your work.
Right.
So that's kind of the way I focus on looking at education.
Coming back to the university to take on the interim role as executive director of the Lincoln University Foundation, what did you find coming in that surprised you most, and what encouraged you the most?
The things probably surprised me the most was that I saw what we was doing, what we had been doing, and I had to step off of the foundation when I took the position. But what we had been doing, I think, was laudable. Let me compliment the alums who've been working with the foundation. What they're doing was laudable, what they've been doing. But we can do better. I think we can give more and encourage others to give more. The foundation is an interesting kind of organization. It is here to support the university, to help with scholarships, to help students who may have a difficulty with their finances to be able to step in and give some resources in that area. And I think that is a part of it that I think I looked at that we can do more. I think from another point of view, I think we can raise more money. We just can raise more money. We just got to figure out a way of raising more money. We got to be more proactive in terms of getting other alums to give, broaden our base, and get more alums to give back. We just got to do that.
Having stepped down from the executive director's position, currently the special assistant for advancement and alumni affairs, same question. Stepping into that position, what did you see going in, and as far as what excited you, and shortcomings that you been able to observe that need some shoring up?
Sure, I'm sure our shortcomings is probably, I've been there a month, so shortcomings for me is that we've got to get our data together. We've got to focus on that. The president she's data-based in terms of making decisions, so we've got to get our data. We've got to connect with our alums. That's probably one of the areas that I see that I can help in the short time that I'll be in that position. I also see that we need to welcome. I had a chance to I talk to alums all the time. We need to welcome alums back to campus. We need to focus locally. We've got a significant number of alums that's in the local area that we need to make contact with. So I'm going to try to focus on getting local alums to get involved with Lincoln and to give back to Lincoln.
Okay. Lincoln University, over the years, have served the state and the nation as a whole. What do you see the university doing to further advance the mission?
I think our mission has not changed because we've adjusted it according to the times. But I think Lincoln should continue to focus on recruiting quality students, retaining those students, and getting them out into the workforce. I think that's where we can be most effective, and that's where we've been most effective. I think Lincoln has done an excellent job of almost everywhere I go, I run into a Lincolnite, somewhere who's doing something really great. I think we have an opportunity to continue to do that. I think we've got the president has got a team and got the right team in the right place at the right time, and I think with that kind of a leadership, that forward-thinking leadership, leadership for excellence, is going to continue to bode Lincoln well as we go forward.
As you touched on earlier, Lincoln University, as well as other historically black colleges and universities, have undergone financial struggles over the years and maintaining and keeping their doors open, especially in difficult economic times. It definitely pops up during that time. States having budget cuts, and seem like every budget cycle, education takes a tremendous hit.
Certainly.
What role do you see the association playing in shoring up that shortfall that is no longer coming from the state?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. There's been major concerns with regards to finances. And finance is a major issue for a significant number of our students. I think the alumni associations can identify in their local areas. We have 20 chapters in their local areas across the country. They can identify quality students and send them to Lincoln. Those students convert into resources for the institution. So if we can push students to come to Lincoln and tell them our story about how Lincoln has helped us, that will help with resources. In addition, we can identify other alums that's not participating, and others, period, corporations and other alums to give. Have those alums, hey, give back. Tell our story. Tell how the soldiers created this institution and how this institution has survived the 153 years. It didn't survive just by being there or with the states, on state money only. It's going to take us to support and protect and safeguard our own institution. So I'm really at leaning on alums to give more, and more of them to give. Now that is a challenge that we have. We've got to get more alums to give. You may not give big big donations, but if you can just give a little, like I said, the golden rule of giving consistently over time, you'd be surprised how that will build and the institution can count on it. And you mentioned something earlier about institutions closing their doors. We don't expect Lincoln to be in that situation, but just the thought of that causes me to want to work harder to make sure that that school is on the hill forever.
Okay. One of the things that I've noticed over the past few years, I don't care where you are, athletics plays a major role in the feeling about an institution, and you need to have a winner in order to maintain that type of enthusiasm. And Lincoln University has come a long way as far as the athletics are concerned, and I've noticed that there's tremendous support around the athletics program now.
Yeah, we've got a winner so far. I think we've got Coach Moses done a good job with the basketball team, and we've got a world-renowned track team, and I think athletics plays a major role. In addition, at another level, from my perspective, and this is purely my perspective, athletics, sports have become the new industry. If you notice in most major cities, they have basketball, football. Those people with resources still enjoy and will spend money on that sport and that entertainment. So athletics is kind of like a new industry we have out here that creates resources for cities. Because when you have a winning team, you bring people from all around, spend money while they're there, stay in the hotels, and all those kind of things. So athletics is a real major fundraiser for cities. So while we are working on athletics as building character, and as you see young men go off, and if you look at the Big Ten, you see all those kids on the field and those stadiums full. Those are resources that come to those universities. And those universities take those resources oftentimes and build buildings, provide scholarships, and all that kind of stuff. So athletics is a major concern. And I think we are positioned to have a real quality athletic situation at Lincoln. Look, if you see our football field, how much it's improved. When I was playing, we had the Sand Bowl down there, but now we've got a major stadium. We have the link that's connected to that, and that's going to draw people onto the campus and to take advantage of the exercises and the offerings of the link.
In closing, you came out of retirement to come and
I'm ready to go back.
and serve your institution. What have been the most rewarding experience coming out of retirement, coming back to Jefferson City?
Well, Jeff City is almost like home, second home. In fact, I'm looking at buying me a condo while I'm here. My wife likes it, and we like our church, and we like our community. So we met here, so we'll spend more time in Jeff City. But coming out of retirement was a blessing on the one hand, and it was a challenge on the other hand. I was called to come out of retirement, and I've enjoyed every minute. I've enjoyed learning, and to see see our students, see where they are. Our students, I think, need as much help as we did when we were coming along. Our students need someone to show them that we care about you. We want you to be successful. If Lincoln recruit you and get you into the classroom and get you up on that hill, we want to graduate you. Lincoln wants to graduate you. We've got a wonderful faculty. The president is building a strong staff to support our faculty and staff. So I'm excited about seeing the level that Lincoln is in now, because I've seen the transition from 1959 to 2019. So I've had a broad view of education, especially since I've worked in about 5 different institutions of higher education. Worked at Virginia Commonwealth University, worked at the University of Houston, worked at Milwaukee Area Technical College. I worked at all these different schools, so by having all that broad range of education and experience, I've had a chance to look at Lincoln from a real careful look, and I really appreciate where we are now. I appreciate where we're trying to go, and I'm just excited about the leadership, and especially I came at a time when you're interim, you know you're going to be there just for a short period of time. So I've stayed my stay, and I've enjoyed it. And it's just an exciting time to be at Lincoln and all the stuff that's going on. In fact, I just looked up the other day. The dance group is having something in Richardson Auditorium tomorrow night. You know, this kind of the basketball team, it creates a kind of synergy. So university communities have that kind of a draw for the community. I'm just excited, and I look forward to seeing getting more involved in the community. And I think we're doing a good job of that now. But I think we can do better in getting the community involved in Lincoln and having people come up on Lincoln to see what we're doing and to connect with Lincoln. Lincoln is an exciting place to be in right now.
Okay. Closing. What do you wish people to say when they think about Earl Wheatfall?
Earl Wheatfall, yes. I say he was, number one, I want to say what Dr. Reed taught us. He was a good citizen. He gave his best while he was in the position he was in. And that he gave back to others. One of the things is that he gave back to others. I'd like to leave a legacy of giving back. You don't take a lot with you, but I'd like to leave some kind of legacy of saying, Earl Wheatfall was a good citizen. He gave back to Lincoln University.
Okay. Dr. Wheatfall, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. We've been speaking with Dr. Earl Wheatfall. He is currently the Special Assistant for Advancement and Alumni Affairs here at Lincoln University. We'll see you next time. God bless.